A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
When Alex became a god, he thought he would have no problems at all. Until... He landed in the Divine Dimension and was tasked with protecting the entire multiverse.
Am I connected to every single Alex Ambrose that ever existed?
Alex could travel across dimensions, defying the laws of time and space, to help other Alexes throughout the multiverse. But then everything changed.
No! Aw!
I have to go back and save them.
But if Alex went back to the mortal world, he would relinquish all of his power and his memories.
I don't have a choice. I must go back.
When Alex returned back to Earth, he goes back to being your average business tycoon millionaire, unaware that the people he cared most about are in danger.
Aw, someone help me!
Yvonne, what happened?
I was attacked by a monster. Alex? What's going on? Get away from him! He is my boyfriend!
Who attacked Yvonne in the forest? What will Debbie do next? Who will Alex choose between the two women? Will Alex ever remember who he was before traveling into a different multiverse? To hear what happens next and whether Alex can stop the deranged monster before he strikes again, listen to the original audio drama, Insta Millionaire Returns, only on Pocket FM. Download the app now and find out.
Presentation. Boy, oh boy, you don't see this on every schedule with a truck in it. How about a little Dutch racing action here tonight? Round number 9 of the 3rd season is going Dutch. It's the Dutch Oven Truck Prix at Zandvoort Nationaal. And this is a unique opportunity for these 19 drivers that have elected to brave it here tonight out in the Netherlands. Boy, this is going to be an interesting one here tonight. 69 laps around a shorter version of Circuit Park Zandvoort. Welcome in to Turn 200's coverage of Truck 200. My name is Tommy Cook. We got Matt Williamson alongside. Partner, this is only the second time we've seen this track on the channel. The first time was with the Porsche Mission R. I couldn't think of the name of it there for a second. Likewise, a similarly bulky, heavy car to this, but those are a little bit more purpose-built for the road courses. This is a bit of a challenge tonight.
Yeah, I mean, a challenge is no doubt about it. As you see, Scott Patton having some trouble with rear grip there around turn 1 on a qualifying effort. It's very light in the rears. It's very tough to get slowed down when you want to. And it's kind of weird. You have to be in a low gear to get the acceleration, but you really have to be careful on the throttle because you can spin the tires so easily. It's going to be a tough one. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Why don't we take a look at the points after another tough one last week at Rockingham. Something like 10 cautions, but a barn burner finish. And it gives us a pretty clear picture of where a lot of these drivers stand heading into the final 3 races of the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it wasn't too long ago. We felt like we had plenty of time before we made it to the playoffs. Everybody still had a moment to, kind of gather themselves and head themselves in the right direction. But we're getting down to the nitty-gritty now. Gavin Sanders well into the points lead at this point. He is definitely going to make it in. Justin Michael, Caleb Bensi, Hunter Engrav, all 200-plus points to the good. Will Weiser sitting 143 points above the cutoff there in 5th as well. And then you drop down to the bottom 3. Charlie Widener, 85 points to the good. Scott Patton and Matt Schlosser, 40 and 41 points to the good. That's not very many in this format that we have here. And then you got Heath Smith, Mike Milfelt, and Brandon Groover. I mean, the 3 of them all looking pretty decent to try and make a run at this thing. Some of your fringe competitors to try and make it. Rob Haynes, James Lehman, TJ Crampton. I mean, Crampton has been really putting it on well as of late. He just put himself in too big of a hole, not being here a couple weeks. But he's had great finishes, so I think he should have a good one here tonight. If he does, might put himself in some good position because there's a lot of folks not here.
Absolutely. Only 19 drivers on the grid, a couple provisionals floating in the air tonight, particularly for Heath Smith, who is right there on the fringe, and Charlie Widener as well. So some drivers on the outside looking in, maybe going to take advantage of a much smaller field here tonight. Well, it's time to hit it, and we'll give you the lay of the land here in just a moment, but we'll give you the starting lineup first, and not a surprise, it's Gavin Sanders, most recent winner in road course racing action at Mid-Ohio to start this season. He will lead the field of green with Hunter Engrav on the outside pole. It's Will Weiser and last week's winner TJ Crampton on row number 2. On the third row, it will be Matt Schlosser on the inside and James Lehman back in the running order tonight. He's a good sports car racer, finished runner-up at Mid-Ohio earlier this season as well, starting in 6th. Joshua Hege and the driver that put this race on the schedule, Dakota DeMade, is going to start in 8th. Zach Flaum looking to just stop the onslaught of bad luck he's had of late. He'll start in 9th with Dale Weiser, the Volusia winner. A much different set of circumstances here tonight, but he'll roll off from 10th. Steve Roman and Nate Siefker on row number 6. It's Kyle Zittel and Brandon Groover on row 7. Scott Patton, no laps in practice, joined halfway through qualifying, so he doesn't know what he's up against tonight, but he's the last driver to put up a qualifying time. He'll start in 15th. Caleb Bensi tried to put 2 laps in and did not get a single one going, so he is deep in this field. 16th, Logan Spath, Peter Donchek, and Hunter Leach is going to give it a go tonight in the Netherlands, starting in P19. Matt, we'll give the folks the lay of the track here in just a moment, but in terms of the strategy here tonight, what are these drivers looking at?
We're going to let the points roll off here. And, so we have 69 laps. Halfway bonus points will be paid out at the completion of lap number 36. That's the magic number for the drivers here tonight. We have 3 extra sets of tires, no fast repairs. I think the name of the game is just to keep all 4 wheels on the racing surface. I don't think we need to get too crazy with really anything here. You just got to keep her rolling. 102 degrees is the track temperature at the moment. It's somewhat warm. It is fairly cloudy, although it's not right now, but there have been plenty of clouds throughout practice. So I think as the night rolls along, we'll probably have maybe some cooler conditions, which the drivers are not going to mind.
They certainly are not. They are headed through the bridge right there. So this is a 2.6 mile circuit. Regularly. Since its renovation in 2020, they added the 2 set of high banked curves. Really one of the best venues in Formula One. Sad that its time is coming to an end here in the next couple of years. But tonight we're taking the Nationaal layout, which takes out about 0.8 of a mile in 5 turns. So 8 turns, 1.8 miles, and that leaves us with a cool 200 kilometers, which is a very nice 69 laps in the race distance tonight.
This is the chaotic layout, let's just be honest.
Yeah, and we're going to find out just how chaotic it's going to be here for the first couple laps. These drivers know what they're up against, but it may not matter when everybody starts to slow down coming out of the big bank curve down the hill into a very narrow, probably not meant to be run by any car, if we're being honest, turn, let alone a giant stock car. Gavin Sanders has essentially clinched himself into the postseason. Can he get himself another win for the road? Green flag. Into Tarzan corner we go. Turn number 1. Sanders with the whole shot and the outright advantage here. Engrav back to second. As they head to Gerlach.
Whoa.
And the Hugenholtz corner is there.
Dale Weiser, Nate Seifker, Zach Blau make contact.
3 wide into this high banked corner. The left-hander.
Oh.
And more beating and banging as we're now headed to the bridge corner here. No name for what is essentially a steward's post. As Lehman is loose, but keeps it out of the front grille of Matt Schlosser there.
And that's a product of being in gear number 1 and trying to get power down. It's just so difficult. Look at Bensi trying to work his way through.
Bensi looking for a big belting opening lap here, starting back in 15th as Nate Seifker's gone around into the Ernst corner. From Kumho to the Ari Lyondike corner, that is turn number 15. Or rather, turn number 13. For our purposes, it's turn 8. And that is 1 lap in the books for Gavin Sander, your pole sitter, leading early.
Bensi going to take a dive to the inside of Heggie.
Letting the rears hang out there.
Wow, look at that.
Still letting them hang out. There's a couple places where this truck does not really seem to like the weight shift. Some of the undulations, especially around some of the quick right-hand turns like that.
This one coming up right here for your leaders, going up over the hill to the right and then trying to get back to the left. It causes some major problems, especially when you have to slow down a very significant amount there for the bridge turn.
More contact further back and 1 into the barriers. It's Logan Spath. Looks like he may have had some help from Steve Roman. And Spath will drop nearly to the tail of this field. Zittel may have had some problems. He is well behind. As there's more problems, and it's Nate Seifker around now into the chicanes.
Now Seifker with a bit of damage to the front of that truck. Here comes James Lehman looking for the inside move on Will Weiser into turn number 1.
Lehman ain't going to play around today. He's been on the shelf the last couple of weeks. Wants to come back in a big way and follow up his second place from Mid-Ohio earlier this season.
Matt Schlosser not far behind the 44 either. He's looking to keep moving forward.
Comfortable 2.5-second lead for Gavin Sanders as Nate Siefker continuing to have some problems as around in Tarzan.
Oh, Dakota DeMade, a couple tires through the grass there as Caleb Bensi all over the back of him.
This is Bensi now trying to get through DeMade, who has a slowdown penalty here into this chicane, but DeMade chops the nose. One thing that we haven't really had to talk about all that much, but you'll definitely see it through that slow corner there in particular as this race continues on. The new debris physics in iRacing, anytime anybody goes through the gravel trap, that gravel will stay out on the track for the rest of the race. It's not going anywhere. So that is just another element of instability that this truck at this track really does not need.
Yeah, and that sweeping left-hander where there's all of that gravel and sand to the inside of the turn, that's an easy one to blow through. And if drivers continue to do that throughout this race, it is going to get pretty nasty through there.
Working lap number 4. Sanders with a 3-second lead back to Engrav. Engrav ahead of Crampton, Lehman, and Will Weiser, the top 5. Schlosser, Heggie, Bensi, DeMade, and Flaum, the top 10. Problems for Peter Donshak out of Tarzan. And now problems for Steve Vroman out of the Big Bank corner, the Hugenholtz corner. And Nate Siefker's just backed it into a barrier in Tarzan as well. I think his race may be over here on lap number 4.
All right, this time around, we're going to go on board with one of the drivers out here, and I think we're going to go on board with the 400 who's trying to make a move on Will Weiser, but hasn't had a whole lot of luck up to this point. Let's go on board with Matt Schlosser.
Weiser looked a little loose there out of Ari Leyendijk corner. Schlosser trying to close this gap a little bit, just a couple truck lengths. Here is the big break into Tarzan, sweeping right-hander. A lot of wheel spin there, getting back up through the gears, out of Tarzan. You come back down here for the Hugenholtz. This is the big bank corner. And normally you could just power through this S section, but you've got to slow down right away to catch this little gap.
Oh, wow. James Lehman right in front. I can't believe he's been able to hang on to it, but not able to get any speed out of it as the tires are spinning that entire time. He stacked them up.
You do not want to be double wide here through this slow corner.
Look at all that
just going to let him
gravel
have
on the
that
racetrack.
Yeah, it is dirty there.
They're stacking up behind Schlosser here as well. We'll give you a look at it after we complete the lap here.
Yeah, Heggie and Bensi are going at it behind Matt Schlosser as Scott Patton has had a problem. And Logan Spath has retired his truck as well. But that's a lap around this abbreviated version of Zandvoort National Circuit, as there's a little bit of contact in front and behind of Matt Schlosser.
And Weiser's not done.
Tricky corner to try and pull off a pass or even set yourself up, but he's staying to the outside of Lehman here. Lehman having to run the middle up the big banking in Hugenholtz.
See if Lehman can be a little bit more tame here this time through the really slow, sharp right-hander. And look at this. Matt Schlosser shoves it up the middle, side by side with Will Weiser.
I think Schlosser was feeling some pressure.
Weiser's around.
Weiser loses the rear of the truck and into the sand he goes. And that is going to cost him quite a few positions here.
At the same time, Bensi able to get through on Heggie, so now Bensi right behind Schlosser.
Not unexpected, but a pretty good drive through the field for Caleb Bensi up to this point after starting back in 15th. He is now up to 6th and knocking on the door of the top 5. Retirement from Hunter Leach early in the going here as well. But he'll score some points for the home team. Hello to Pamela Engrav, Corey Rutherford, and Zach Lockett hanging out with us. Reminder, the Venom Truck Series is at the debuting Kern County tomorrow night. The Punisher Graphics race, sponsored by Eric Breeding. as there's the stack up into the shortcut. Problem for Dale Weiser and Hugenholtz. He is parked right in the middle of the track, but we'll keep it going.
Will Weiser and Zach Flaum now battling after the problem for Weiser. Oh, wow! Flaum had to slam on the brakes, probably chattering those tires, and nearly turned it straight into Weiser, but he made a great move to stay out of him.
Yeah, Weiser got to be feeling pretty frustrated at this point. Was disappointed with a fourth-place finish at his home track at Mid-Ohio. Felt like he had a podium opportunity. As here's a lunge to the inside into Tarzan, and it's Caleb Bensey.
Yeah, Matt Schlosser's smart enough to know that Bensey's got a lot of speed there, and he's probably not going to take no for an answer.
Ooh, James Lehman got it into the grass there, into Hugenholtz, and I thought he was going around, but he hangs on to it. Does not take much. You and I both know, doing plenty of practice laps here, to upset the rear end of this truck, and then you're going around.
Yeah, big time.
Oh, Bensey long into the shortcut,
Oh,
into some of the marbles, and he's going to lose that position he just gained. So he's right back to sixth, and right into the lap of Josh Heggie down.
it's not crazy difficult to make the save to not go completely around. However, you do lose a lot of time if you have to make one of those maneuvers.
Brandon Groover is long. He keeps it out of any barriers or anything. Likewise for Kyle Zittel. And TJ Crampton also had a problem from third, but he is still trucking.
Got Patton up to the back of Steve Froman here as well. Scott trying to get into 11th here.
Patton had a problem early. Lost some positions that he had gained, so he's now trying to claw his way back into the top 10.
Well, we haven't shown this man much because there hasn't really been anything to talk about. Out front, no issues whatsoever so far for the Canadian, the 99 of Gavin Sanders.
Not a whole lot of problems for Sanders thus far. As we started with 19, I think Peter Donchak may have just called it a race, so we're down to 15 drivers. And that's a pretty thin herd to have to work your way through here once he eventually catches lap traffic here. So that's all well and good. Scott Patton is going to make the pass stick here on Steve Vroman. So Patton back to 11th. I will say last time around, Engrav was about 0.2 quicker than your race leader, but that gap's still hovering around 5 seconds. And Engrav, no pressure from behind for him. I'd say the lap times show that Sanders and Engrav are in a league of their own, at least for now, until maybe Caleb Bensey can get some clean air later in this run. But Bensey got back behind Schlosser and has not found his way back through on the 400 yet. Still pretty stacked up behind James Lehman here if you factor in Heggie and DeMade into this equation. All within a few seconds of each other. Are we having fun yet?
Oh, I think we're having fun. I don't know about some of these drivers.
I don't think they're having fun. But it's just getting started. Lap 11 on the board. We got a long way to go. Pit stops Still about 20 laps away as well.
Whoa, Benzie right up to the bumper of Schlosser there. Right around the top 5 has been great stuff all night. Still a long ways to go, like you said. I mean, this is one of those races where you feel like you're just not that good in the beginning. It's long enough where you might have somebody in front of you kind of start to relax and maybe not push it so much. When you start finally gaining some confidence, there's enough time here for you to make up quite a bit of time on your competitors, especially at a track like this.
I think the interesting spot on the track is going to be that final turn, turn 13. You saw Schlosser walk it right up to the wall there, but it's easy to get this truck loose and tail whip that wall. The only circuit in Europe with a safer barrier. The rest just have Armco and tire barriers, but there are actual safer barriers around the 2 big bank curves, and that wall juts out of turn number 13. So it's going to be really easy to overstep it in what should be a flat-out corner. And it definitely is in an F1 car, but not in a NASCAR truck. Oh, there's one around. It's Will Weiser. Walked it up, sent it into the shortcut turn backwards. Not sure if he nosed into the barrier or not, but he will not lose a position out of it.
Didn't appear that way. We'll take a look. I mean, he's super loose all the way down the hill there. And doesn't hit any walls. As back to the live shot, Caleb Benzie looking to dive inside of Matt Schlosser once again. Remember, this happened once already in this race, and then Benzie made a mistake just a half a lap later. They let Schlosser back through.
He set that up well through Ari Lyondike corner. And had the big run down the front stretch and regains the 5th position. We'll see if he can start to make his way forward now. Next up will be James Lehman, and he is not too far ahead of the 29. Ahead of Lehman, you have to go another 5 seconds up to the podium runners. TJ Crampton, another 5.5 seconds ahead to Hunter Engrav. And Sanders has continued to extend his lead over Engrav now. The gap is nearly to 6 seconds.
Josh Hagee starting to come back on strong here. He was really fast really early on. He's kind of taking his time a little bit, but it might be all for the best. Coming back to him here. Not too far away from Schlosser.
And those are 2 of the 3 podium finishers from last night's season opener in the ASRL Xfinity Series. Shout out to Joshua Rutherford, the other one. But Schlosser taking the win. And that, personally, was my only highlight of the race.
Me too.
That was a rough one. But Schlosser, always a threat, no matter the track, no matter the car. Proving that again here into the top 5. Further back in the pack, Brandon Groover, I think with a bit of a spin. It's allowed Dale Weiser to get through the 13th. Groover, another driver that's going to benefit greatly from just being here tonight. Even if he finishes last out of the drivers that are running, that's a P15 finish. That is going to net him some good points. He is right on the outside looking in of the chase battle. Groover quietly has had a pretty good season here in Truck 200. I'm sure he'll want to carry that over to Thursday nights when Max V gets rolling up again in the next couple weeks. There are a couple fringe playoff drivers or fringe chase drivers rather, that are not here tonight. Groover will be taking advantage of that just by taking the starting grid.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we knew that was kind of coming in, that there weren't going to be that many folks. If you just keep the truck clean, you don't wreck it, you're going to get a good finish. I mean, Hunter Leach came in here tonight with basically 0 stock car road racing experience, and to do it at this track of all places is a wide
Yeah, not
wild
Watkins
welcome.
Glen.
No. So that was my advice. Just take care of the truck, and you're probably going to get a top 15 without really doing anything on the racetrack of note. Well, he may have, but unfortunately out at this point. And thank you to Corey Rithford for the note. My voice is not doing so hot, so.
I wonder why.
Yeah. A couple of compounding nights of screaming and yelling, albeit for very different reasons. One was in joy, the other was in pain.
Speaking of pain, Steve Roman around in the shortcut corner, but I think he does not hit the barrier, so he's good to go on. Ooh, Scott Patton, I think off through the sand gravel, the sand trap. And Steve Roman through the sand trap now as well. May have had some contact with the barrier that time. Bensi getting close here to James Lehman. Oh, and Lehman, wow! Almost dumped it right in the lap of the 29 there.
That was pretty heads up from Bensi. He easily could have gotten in the back of him.
Now Bensi drives it in deep here, and they are wheel to wheel.
Wow, look at this battle. Oh, my goodness.
That is a tough place to go in side by side. It's two veteran road racers right there. Bensi very strong. The other problem is if you don't hit that wall, you need to be high up enough to where if the rear end starts to slide out from under you, you catch it in time to not hit the inside wall and feed down off the banking into the inside pit wall. And yes, the rears on this truck are incredibly loose. And it's relatively cool track temperature, although we are getting to the warm part of the day, so it might be increasing, but I don't think that's the prevailing factor here. Here's Bensi. Through the shortcut, not clear. Gonna take Lehman all the way there to the left, and Lehman gonna barrel it through and right back into the 29.
And look at Schlosser.
Well, Schlosser's gonna take advantage.
Oh, and Bensi took a toe.
I think he's gonna call it after that one. I would imagine he's probably not very happy.
Yep, that is a quick exit.
Bensi pretty comfortable to the cut line there. So this should not affect his chase chances whatsoever. Let's take another look at that here in a second. Although there's not really much battling going on, Schlosser gets a 2-for-1 there, and he's up to 4th.
Certainly is, and Weiser going to get through on Dakota DeMade. Weiser, of course, has had quite a bit of speed, but has also had quite a few problems this race. So he's had to go to the back, work his way forward, go to the back, work his way forward a couple of times here now. He's working on another comeback, right now sitting in 7th. And let's go ahead and take a look at the incident here between Bensi and Lehman. We'll back it pretty far up because Bensi was really, really smooth through the transitional right-hander here that afforded him that opportunity to get to the inside. Lehman in a little bit too hot, and then also really trying to get the power down, got a little bit loose. And you see, oh, did not want to do that. Sorry about that. You're going to see here that I think Bensi thought he was going to be able to sail it in there and get clear of Lehman, but he did not quite do that. Lehman's still kind of hanging around there. And when Bensi comes through it, I mean, Lehman's also carrying quite a bit of speed as well. I mean, that was just a bad spot for both of them. And Lehman back out onto the racetrack, gets into the back of the 29. I'm sure Caleb would probably, I think his argument would be that he had nearly the entire position, was nearly clear, and Lehman should have just backed off for a hair and just let them both survive.
I mean, we had just said it. I think the lap before, that is not a great place to be too wide. And I think that's just a natural result of that. So Gavin Sanders just had his first off track. So that leaves us with, I think, just 2 drivers. Rocking, make it 3 drivers. Rocking a 0X, Hunter Engrav in second. Matt Schlosser, oddly enough, in fourth. And Josh Hege in sixth. Not that you get any bonus points for 0X performance here, but regardless, still pretty impressive. But we are only 20 laps in here.
Yeah, there's still quite a ways to go. No doubt about it.
And that corner that Lehman and Bensey had their dust up in is getting awfully dirty, as Steve Roman just buried it in the sand trap there right in front of the race leader. Gavin Sanders starting to come up on some lap traffic.
Will Weiser still trying to work his way through the field. He's going to be working on Josh Hege here in just a moment. And by the end of it, I mean, still a lot of time for Weiser to make some positions up, but I'm sure still at the end of the night he's going to be going, man, what could I have done if I didn't make a few mistakes pretty early? Because he's had a lot of speed.
Yeah, Weiser had that big battle with Mario Campolucci at Mid-Ohio that really took up a lot of his time and concentration. He could have easily gotten onto the podium with the pace that he had there. And like you said, early problems here. But he's already back to 7th.
We'll go on board with Weiser. Oh, man, and you see him shift down into the slow right-hander, and truck got super loose on him. He's having to crank on it back and forth to get that thing under control.
Oh, Lehman around.
Oh!
Wow, good on Hege and Weiser to avoid that one, but Lehman now in a tough spot trying to get pointed in the right direction from 5th. He's now back to 8th.
I mean, we were on board.
And he hits the pit wall there right at the end, and that may have just really messed up the front of his truck.
We were on board with Weiser, and Weiser couldn't even really see it until Hege went wide, and Weiser had to make a pretty quick decision there. That was heads up by the 44. And now, I don't think I've seen a pass coming before we get to that turn yet. And he passed Hege on the outside of that downhill right to left-hander. That's a crazy spot to make a pass.
That is an incredibly brave way to try and get past there. But he got it done. And now he is up to 5th with the problems there for Lehman. And Lehman, after hitting the pit wall there pretty hard, he was trying to shake out the front of that truck, and it looked pretty evil. So he is going to come in and hopefully get some damage fixed. He will be awfully, awfully close to being able to make it to the end of the race here. I'm going to say he's still a few laps short, though. Not even taking into account having to fix this damage here.
Let's check in on a couple of fast drivers we really haven't talked about at all here tonight, just because they've been all out by their lonesome with no issues up to this point. Hunter Engrav sits here in second. This is Steve Vroman right in front, which is some lap traffic. I almost said Mike Vroman, by the way.
Oh, boy. Wow.
That's a very niche
Yeah.
callback right there. Nobody will get it except for you.
Yep. I'm impressed, though.
I don't know how that almost came out of my mouth, but it did.
Yeah, I want to say thanks to everybody that did come out to race tonight. I know road racing is not a few of these drivers' bag, but you know, we appreciate it a lot, especially since I'm sure a couple of these drivers had to buy this track just to race this tonight. Hopefully they can get some use out of it, because it is a great track, just maybe not for this, as Schlosser trying to get through on Kyle Zittel, nearly got himself turned around. Zittel going to stay high in the bank corner here and let the 400 roll through. That was almost bad for your fourth place runner. Kyle Zittel, the defending winner at Bristol in the Venom Truck Series, will be much more comfortable at Kern County tomorrow night. And by the way, we've got jumpy truck action this week. Speaking of Matt Schlosser, he's the new proprietor of Special Stage Off-Road Racing Series. They'll be in action Friday night. It'll be myself and James Watson with the season opener from the Wild West Motorsports Park. That's going to be a really, really fun one. Looking forward to that a lot. As problems for Dakota DeMade, he's gone for a spin, but he has a big gap back to Zach Flem, so he still rides in 7th. Speaking of... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, another driver that's pretty quick we haven't talked much about at all, except for right early on when we were talking about the point standings. That's TJ Crampton. He sits here in 3rd right now. He's been on a great stretch. And when we were talking about the points and drivers that had a shot to really make up some points with a lot of folks missing here tonight, Crampton's at the top of that list. And him putting himself in a podium position here could be huge to get himself into the playoffs. And if there's anybody that can be a spoiler in the playoffs, I think it's the 72 here.
Certainly will. The chase is seeded, and there are no provisionals or drop weeks in the chase itself, so he'll come in with a low point total and a low seed as well. He will have a bonus point for winning a race. As Will Weiser is gone around into the Hugenholtz corner. And that will allow Josh Hagee to potentially get back through on the 44.
Weiser going to try this again around the outside right after spinning? No, thinks better of it.
Yeah, that's hot tires are not what you want here into this slow corner. We're talking 30 miles an hour into this shortcut turn. You would think the truck would like these lower speeds, but it does not. It does not like first gear.
No, not at all. Not in the slightest.
And something else we haven't mentioned, wheel hop. From second down to first, no matter what RPM, even if you match it perfectly, you're wheel hopping.
Yeah, big time. And it's
big time.
It can get violent.
Yeah, for sure. So keeping temperature out of the right rear tires is seemingly an impossible task here, so it's more about managing the temperature in the rear tires. So Weiser back on the move forward here, but now he has 10.5 seconds to catch up to Matt Schlosser in 4th. Schlosser is making up time on TJ Crampton, but it's a lot to overcome. He is 9 seconds down on your podium runner. Sanders continuing to dominate up front, over 11 seconds, nearly 11 and a half to Hunter Engrav. What I was going to say a minute ago, speaking of Dakota DeMade, was that I'm going to throw out the first tease for the Daredevil schedule. Because the results are in. We know the schedule now. That's all I'm going to say, though. That's it.
That's
we have
it.
the schedule.
That is the tease. Okay.
The schedule is finalized. So that's breaking news.
You're gonna have to slowly roll the teases out on that one because we still got a ways to go.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we got a while. I think August 26th maybe is the first Daredevil race. So we got a while.
By the way,
but let me assure you, it's a wild one.
You don't have to tell me.
Uh-huh.
For everybody out there, the gig is up. I do know the schedule.
Yep.
I think one of the prior seasons I pretended like I didn't. That's a lie. I know it.
I made sure you knew it this time because I couldn't contain my excitement for some of these tracks that we're going to. But yeah, that's the tease. Nothing more, nothing less.
By the way, some notes in the chat about the fuel window here. Says have to make it to lap 32-ish, which is a little bit further than I would have thought. But that is the word on high on fuel strategy here, which nobody has really opted to come down yet, so it makes sense. I would imagine a lot of these drivers just trying to make it to right about halfway, and they're splitting her in half.
Point out as well, James Lehman never came out of pit road. He is elected to call it a night, so he will join the growing list of drivers out of this race. Of course, after the contact with he and Caleb Bency, Bency called it a night. Peter Dunchak, Hunter Leach, Logan Spath, and Nate Siefker out of this one as well. Currently 8 drivers on the lead lap. Gavin Sanders has led them all after taking the pole position. And he's got the purple lap as well. Not a fun combo. It does not really look like many people are having fun out there. I would imagine even Gavin Sanders leading it's got to be taxing just to wheel this truck around here. But you never know until you try. And Dakota DeMade wanted to see it. I also wanted to see it because I love this track. It is a handful. It's a workout. So nobody really close for position right now. A couple of drivers on their way forward, a couple on their way back.
Yeah, we're going to get some TV time for the folks a little bit further. I don't even know if you can really say all that far back. Only 13 running at this time. But Steve Rowan in the 00, right behind TJ Crampton right now. Crampton just got through the lap traffic a few moments ago.
How gross it is on the outside of that turn if you haven't noticed. It is nice that these guys that are not kicking up the gravel are starting to push the gravel out towards the exterior of the track. So it's sort of marbling up, but just with dirt at this point. Oh, and watching the races at Volusia the last couple of weekends, absolutely they have a cushion there. So why didn't we get one for the truck race? Gosh darn it. Life's greatest mysteries.
Don't know what to tell you there, Chief.
Maybe we'll just have to try it in Season 4. Oh, wait. Schlosser's advance on TJ Crampton has stalled out. He is back to about 10 seconds. But those three still rocking a 0x. Engrav, Schlosser, and Josh Heggie. As I think Will Weiser just ran off the track there as well. Weiser's lap times, though, are pretty interesting. He, last time around, was the second fastest and actually was the fastest driver on track, quicker than Gavin Sanders. So Weiser is moving with a purpose here, trying to catch up to Matt Schlosser. This time he is 1.6 seconds faster than Schlosser, and the gap stands at 8. So Weiser on the move. I can't say I'm all that surprised. But to be faster than Gavin Sanders at this point in the race as well, that is mightily impressive, considering the wear and tear he's put on those tires.
Yeah, no kidding. He certainly has not been nice to them, has he?
But I'll have a chance here in probably about 5 laps' time to get some fresh rubber on this 44 truck, or maybe even potentially now to trigger the undercut. According to Garrett, the window's open.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that at the completion of lap 36, most people probably going to be coming down on lap 37.
Now, you do have, to your point on the completion of lap 36, the halfway bonus points to the drivers in the top 10. But some drivers may have built up a big enough gap where they don't have to worry about that. They can bring it down pit road and still be in the top 10 here. It's a question of, do you want 5 points rather than 3 points?
For some, it really doesn't matter all that much.
No, definitely not.
One of them would be Gavin Sanders.
Yeah. A couple drivers that are not points racing, and one driver that, for all intents and purposes, was locked into the chase last week. But, you know, we like to make sure that nothing crazy is going to happen. But with I mean, even if he drops out at this point, I think it's fair to say Gavin Sanders is going chase racing, no doubt, and is going to be locked into a high seed, even if he doesn't show up the next 2 weeks at Myrtle Beach or Las Vegas. Weiser continuing to eat into that gap. He was 0.03 of a second slower than Gavin Sanders last time around. This time he's a 10th up on the leader. Gap is now under 7 seconds up to Schlosser. TJ Crampton as well, starting to click off some fast laps, trying to catch up to Hunter Engrav. That gap is now under 6.5 seconds. So some drivers working their way forward here as Scott Patton is off and through the gravel, but keeps it out of the barriers and will continue on in 9th. Patton's another guy that is closer to the cut line than he would like to be. Really has not performed all that poorly this season, but he's missed quite a few races outside of his provisional that he's allotted. And I think Patton's going to be the first one to pit road here. But Patton tight to the cut line. A night like tonight is going to help him a lot, especially headed into a short track next week where he can really do some damage. And don't forget as well, last time we took the truck to a Formula One track, it was at Interlagos, and Patton finished second in that race. So Patton on lap 34, on and off pit road. I should say it's lap 34 for him, but lap 35 for Gavin Sanders, as Patton is the first driver 1 lap down, or was when he came to pit road. Final lap before we pay out the points. Sanders across the line. He is 20 seconds clear on Hunter Engrav, who just picked up his first incident point of the race. Off through turn 12 into the gravel, headed up the banking. And Engrav is going to pit early here. So Engrav is going to give up second. He's another driver pretty comfortable to the cut line, so not worried about the halfway bonus points, but looking for any way to gain an advantage on either Gavin Sanders or the fast-approaching TJ Crampton, as Dakota DeMade with a problem, but he's already back up and in motion. Steve Roman with a spin. He'll continue on. Josh Heggie from 6th is now coming down pit road. Will Weiser with a spin into the shortcut turn, as Gavin Sanders will come down pit road, and he will take 10 bonus points as if he needed them. TJ Crampton is going to bypass pit road entry. Crampton will take second in the stage match. Schlosser now coming down pit road. And Will Weiser will follow him in.
And there goes Hunter Engrav.
Uneventful stop for Gavin Sanders. Dakota DeMade has had a couple problems the last couple laps. He's down pit road. No incident limit on the road courses, but your leader in the clubhouse is Nate Siefker with 12, and I think Steve Vroman also has 12, so Vroman might take the high incident mark here with another off track. Still now 2-0 exits Heggie and Schlosser. Done a good job keeping it on track. Your new leader, TJ Crampton, is going to give up the lead, and I don't think he ever got to lead a lap, as Sanders just beat him to the line as he was coming into pit road. So Sanders looking to go flag to flag here, as Crampton will get into his box. So I don't think that leaves too many drivers who have yet to make a pit stop, save for, I believe, Zach Flaum, who is coming in right now. So waiting on, I believe, Roman, Dale Weiser, Brandon Groover, who is also pitting right now, and Kyle Zittel as well. And then that should be it.
Yeah, that's Flaum down, Groover down.
And actually, Dale Weiser was on and off pit road. So
Yeah, I think it's just Roman and Zittel at this point. Crampton staying out an extra couple laps more than Hunter Engrav. We'll see how much time he can claw back. Lost about 3-ish seconds on the cycle, I think. Was about 11 seconds back from Engrav when coming out of pit road.
Hello to Josh Monacek in the chat as here comes Kyle Zittel down pit road. Vroman on his way out of the pits. That should complete the cycle here. So now it's a question of, is something absolutely bonkers going to happen to cost Gavin Sanders this race? Not that it will matter in the long term. No real championship implications there. One more road course to go this season. It's race number 2 of the chase, and it is the very interesting Kansas road course, which you and I are both very excited about. And a lot more rear grip in the truck there. We'll just put it that way.
I sure hope so.
And it's a lot simpler of a track as well. Really underrated roval. Can't believe that nobody really uses it in real life at all. We've seen it a couple times on the sim now, a couple times here on Turn 200, but excited to get some truck racing action in on that one. Roman and DeMade, a couple of separate off tracks. They are going to continue on.
Matt Schlosser putting in some pretty good laps right now. He's gained a little bit of time on Crampton, within 6 seconds.
Yeah, and that's one of the first laps that he's put time back on Will Weiser. So Weiser's advance has stalled a little bit. It's back to 7 seconds and some change. Like you said, yeah, Schlosser trying to reel in TJ Crampton as Vroman had an off track, and I believe he has smacked a barrier. But I think he's going to continue on. The truck that takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Zach Flaum is around it into a barrier. That's into Hugenholtz, and that hopefully is not the end of the race for Zach Flaum because he was doing so well. Top 10 run, but that truck has not moved.
Yeah, it's a tough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Total
that's a
pits.
shame. He has had a rough go of late, and that is not going to make things any easier or add to the confidence department, that's for sure. Yeah, meatball flag on the 20, and that's going to be the end of the night for him. Ooh, Kyle around in an awkward spot out of the final turn. In a really tricky spot there with onrushing traffic. Luckily, it opens up over there. Because if it didn't, that was going to be bad news. For I believe that was TJ Crampton that motored on through there.
Sure was, and now Schlosser working his way through as well. Crampton's put a little bit of time back on Schlosser. Just over 6 seconds is the gap now.
And Weiser now continuing to eat into that gap up to Schlosser.
Schlosser about 6 seconds behind Crampton, about 6 seconds in front of Weiser.
We talk about equidistant, but normally it's when they're a couple truck lengths away, not 6 seconds separated from each other.
We got plenty of time to look at those margins here tonight. Schlosser's been the meat in the sandwich at a couple of points here tonight. This one's a bit more comfortable for him, though.
Got a buffer with Kyle Zittel behind that Weiser will have to work through here eventually. We'll see when they get to the stripe this time, but on this lap, so far, Schlosser is quicker than Crampton. And at the stripe, yeah, he was 9/10 quicker than Crampton last time around. So now it's down to 5 seconds. And Weiser about roughly on par with the lap time there with Schlosser. So that gap staying at about 6.5. But the one that is not in any question or any doubt whatsoever is Gavin Sanders' lead, 24.5 seconds back to Hunter Engrav. He lapped 2.1 seconds faster than Engrav last time around. Engrav actually the slowest driver in the top 5. But he's still got somewhat of a healthy gap back to TJ Crampton, but not completely out of reach yet.
What's interesting is Schlosser's starting to gain some time on Crampton, but he's not pulling away from Weiser. Weiser running just as good a laps right now.
Engrav not just the slowest in the top 5, he was the slowest in the top 10 last time around. Picks up the pace a little bit this time, but still fairly outside of the window compared to his competitors. He ran a 14.98. The next slowest time in the top 5 is a 14.08. So he is 0.9 to a second slower than most of the drivers competing around him. So Crampton closing on Engrav, Schlosser closing on Crampton, Weiser closing on Schlosser. You know, if they all close up at about the same rate, they all should get to each other at the exact same time. That's that fancy math that I use.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. A boy can dream, can't he?
Will Weiser having to work around a little bit of traffic. That's Kyle Zittel.
Zittel, by the way, last driver running, but he is in 12th. Hello to John Kay as well. Not sure if we said hi to him. Not that I really care, but he is here.
Damn.
It's all right, John knows.
We know where Tommy stands.
Okay. You can't turn memeing John Kay around on me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. While we're on the hashtags, I guess, hashtag no yeet. And thank you very much. Schlosser down to 4 seconds here on Crampton. Crampton, as we've talked about the lap times for Hunter Engrav, he's picked him up a bit. He's still running slower than Crampton, but Crampton not gaining as much time as Matt Schlosser is, that's for sure. Oh boy, John, we don't want that. Nobody wants that, I promise.
Go on board with Schlosser. See what his view is of Crampton. I mean, he's pretty far ahead of him here at this point, but there's some points on the racetrack where he's going to be able to start to see him right there in front, and it can do one of two things. It can make you work a little bit harder and go a little bit faster. Or it can make you work too hard, actually affect your lap times negatively if you start trying to push the truck too hard. That can really happen here, especially.
Will Weiser spin, and all that progress is gone again.
I'm just now realizing after this last comment that this is Garrett Rainey in one of his alt accounts, I believe.
I did mention that it was Garrett earlier. That's who I figured was running our fuel numbers, since I figured he was our only other in-session spectator tonight. And probably has his ear to a Discord channel with Kyle Zittel as well. I will say, though, Garrett, make sure all 6 of your alt accounts are subscribed to Turn 200, please. Thank you very much.
I remember at one point he said he was doing everything he could, I think just to get us to like 250,
200.
maybe it was 500 subscriber. I don't remember. And I'm guessing that all of them probably already are. I think that was him doing everything he could.
Yeah. I'll make a 7th. Never too late. I gotta get on all the work emails I have access to and make them all subscribed. We'll get up to 800, no problem.
So just previously on board with Matt Schlosser, this is Hunter Engrav now nearly 30 seconds behind your leader. I mean, that just, if that doesn't tell you what kind of ass whooping Gavin Sanders is putting on this field, I don't know what does. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, Lehman kept Sanders honest. Gavin had to work for it at Mid-Ohio. That was not the case here tonight. And the pace has started to fall off a bit for Matt Schlosser here, as it was TJ Crampton the quickest out of the drivers from 2nd to 4th. So he's now inside of 6 seconds to Hunter Engrav. Schlosser, though, still inside 5 seconds. Maybe just an off lap for the 400. We'll see as they come around this time.
Will Weiser had an incident not long ago, by the way. He's now over 10 seconds behind Matt Schlosser.
I did mention it, but I think we were on board with somebody else. He had just a quick spin, kept it out of the barrier, but yeah, he is way behind the 400 now. So, as this time around, it was Schlosser that was the quickest out of those 3. We're over the 1 hour mark with 20 laps to go. Lap time's just over a minute here. Sanders clocking a 1:13. Purple lamp is a 1:11.93. Let's look ahead while we're waiting to see if Schlosser and Crampton can catch up to the respective drivers that they're chasing here. The final 2 weeks of the regular season. Next week is Myrtle Beach, which is going to be very interesting. That race will be over 200 laps long. Every chance that it will set the new caution record. Very interesting track. Excited to get it on the channel here, but especially if you've never raced it, into turns 1 and 2, they've got, it's almost like the opposite of rumble strips. It's turtle shells instead of a pit divider. So that could be very tricky for some of the drivers that have never seen Myrtle Beach before. So that's the penultimate race of the regular season. Then we've got Las Vegas to close it out, which if you watched the Venom Truck Series last week, you know was an interesting one. I think we'll keep the track temperature under 300 degrees for that race. So we'll see how that changes the dynamic of it. But those are the final 2 races of the regular season. And then as you get into the chase, you've got Indianapolis, you've got Iowa, you've got the Kansas Road Course, you've got Talladega, and Chicagoland to close it out. A pretty straightforward final 5 races, save for the road course sandwiched in the middle there. But with the lack of stability in these trucks, Iowa, even though I believe it's going to be a night race or it's going to transition into the nighttime, it's still pretty loose. That's a tricky one, even for a pretty straightforward short oval like Iowa is. So that's what the drivers have to look forward to after tonight. 2 more opportunities to try and claw your way into the top 8 in the standings if you're not there already. And I don't have the name for next week's race yet, but I've been promised by the race sponsor, who happens to be Jeff Mathis, that it is going to be one of the names that we are not particularly fond of, because it's going to run us right up against our 100 character limit in the YouTube title. So I've been promised it is as long as possible on purpose. But I still haven't laid eyes on it, so I can't promise that for that is the goal. Well, the New England Racing Museum on the Scott Patton machine sure has been to some interesting places here on Truck 200. Taking it to Interlagos and taking it to the Netherlands now. And while you're in the Netherlands, you might as well use up as much of the track as possible, just to say you've been to as much of the Dutch land as possible. This really is a beautiful circuit, though. Right on the North Sea. And I love the changes that they've made to this circuit as well, and it's a shame that it's only going to see 2 more Formula One Grand Prix before it's on the shelf for the foreseeable future. I'm just glad they scanned the new layout for iRacing, because it is a banger.
Crampton has been putting in some good laps. He is certainly not. He has not lightened his foot at all. That is for sure. He's still reeling in Engrav. It's just probably not going to be enough at this point if things kind of stay the way they have been for the last 5 laps or so.
He was half a second up last time around. We'll wait for the first sector times to open up. See if he's making up time here. .44.2 in the opening sector for Engrav versus a 44.0 for Crampton. So already 2/10 up on this lap. Well, Josh Heggie just did the one thing that we have not seen yet, which was not take the shortcut. Yeah, these times are starting to equal out a little bit for Engrav and Crampton now. Identical sector times last time. On the last lap, it was 0.03 of a second in the favor of Crampton. So, like you said, he needed to continue to really beat the drum there, and he has stalled out here the last couple times around. This time by another 0.05 of a second quicker, but that is not quite going to be enough here. A little over 10 laps to go. On the flip side of that, he has continued to extend his advantage over Matt Schlosser. He was 0.4 up last time by. And again, Will Weiser is quicker than Matt Schlosser, but with, gosh, what has he had? 4 or 5 spins at this point? And now he is 10 seconds behind after the latest go-around for the 44. So I think maybe 5th is where he is going to settle if he can bring it home clean. Guess we should have done an over-under on the winning margin of victory.
You know, with some of the talent we had in the field, I didn't think it was going to be this much. I probably would have lost that.
Well, you would think that Bensey would have kept Sanders honest tonight, but man, not getting a qualifying lap in killed Caleb Bensey. And getting hung up there on his great charge up through the field there, right around the 4th and 5th position. And then tangling with James Lehman, taking him out of the race. Bensey could have given Sanders a run for his money. We have yet to see Bensey v. Sanders on the road course this season. As Dale Weiser has just clobbered one of the barriers, headed into the shortcut turn, and that is not going to bode well for the health of that truck. He may have a meatball flag, as it is not looking particularly good.
Not only that, Steve Roman's not that far behind, so even if it's not a meatball, if there's some damage to the wheels, you know, he's got a wheel out of alignment or something, he may lose that 9th position.
Yeah, Weiser trying to stay wide to let Josh Heggie through. He does not have a meatball, but that truck does not look great. As Scott Patton off the road again. That's that little chicane there, the Ernst corner, has claimed many an incident point tonight. The field total is 120. And only one 0X still on the board, and it's Matt Schlosser. But I'd say for not having any laps of practice and coming in right at the end of qualifying, Scott Patton's doing a pretty darn good job there in P8. Well, Crampton, last time by, got on the horse again. Picked up 0.8 of a second. It's inside of 3.5 seconds now. So Crampton not going down without a fight here. Coming to 11 to go, this time at the stripe. Oh, Kyle Zittel around. He's into a barrier ahead of Hugenholt's corner. We'll see if that is going to give this 53 truck a meatball. I think he might be okay, but he hit the barrier quite a bit.
A couple of potential battles coming here. Excuse me. Go to the maid. He's less than a second and a half behind Josh Heggie here. And now he's within just a few truck lengths. And Steve Roman and Dale Weiser, they're getting closer here as well.
Heggie, as I would imagine most drivers are, struggling for rear grip, but that is Heggie off there through the gravel trap. He will have to serve a bit of a slowdown, but I think it's clear already. And this first sector time for TJ Crampton was a monster, and now he is inside of 3 seconds. You can almost get him in the same blimp shot. Crampton is closing on Engrav, visibly. Yeah, Crampton, 4/10 up last time at the stripe. Oh, Will Weiser way off in the Tarzan corner. But he is well clear of the next runner, which is Josh Heggie. Almost half the length of the track ahead of the 7 truck. It actually is half the track length ahead of the 7 truck. As Heggie going to have his hands full. Engrav may have his hands full here as well. The gap is at 3 seconds. Inside of 10 laps to go. Can Crampton find a way to get up to Engrav at second? For Crampton, every point is going to matter if he wants a long shot chance of getting into the chase. DeMade within 2 truck lengths. Applying the pressure, and Heggie is feeling it.
And Heggie struggled through these couple of corners for the last few laps. Oh, and Dale Weiser with a bit of a problem. Steve Roman catches right up to him as well.
Yeah, Weiser didn't quite loop it around, but nearly did, and now Vroman is within 2 truck lengths of him. Meanwhile, Crampton has cut another 7/10 into this gap up to Engrav. It's 2 1/4 seconds. I think Engrav had a better final sector of this lap, but it's not good enough.
Weiser out wide. Vroman gets even with him here. Still side by side.
And this may come into play, though then again, maybe not. If Roman's going to make quick work like that. Slingshots around the top side.
Oh! Engrav with a huge slide.
Engrav losing rear control on this truck, and he's got TJ Crampton here. Crampton inside of a second, closing fast. Hunter Engrav feeling the pressure. And all of a sudden, after laps of inaction, we need a picture-in-picture as Demain is looking for a way through on Heggie. And Crampton has caught Engrav. Wow, Engrav had it hung out of turn 13. Half a second.
Yeah, that truck is giving him fits.
Lap traffic ahead, but they're battling for position. Weiser trying to reel Vroman back in. Now Crampton is going to have a look here, and I think Engrav is going to give him the spot. Crampton through to P2. No fight from the 77, who could come awfully close to clinching a position after it's all said and done tonight. Maybe just thought, to quote the great Clint Boyer, that the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. We'll see if Crampton can navigate through Dale Weiser and Steve Roman here. Wow, Crampton absolutely sailed it into the shortcut there. And grab through on Weiser here as well, and that is going to be welcome news here for Froman, who after everything that he's been through here today is running in P9 here in the closing stretch of the race. Back up to the battle for 6th. DeMade with a run here on Heggie out of Ari Lyondike corner. I don't think has going to quite be in a position here to look into Tarzan. Problems for Brandon Groover. He is around, but he's back in 11th. I'm sure he just wants to bring this one to the finish at this point. Oh, Heggie with a lockup, so does DeMade, and DeMade going to get the worst of it as all that time gain is gone. Now it's back to a couple seconds. No bearing on anything else. Gavin Sanders, 40 seconds ahead. Even with those two battling for second and third, Matt Schlosser is now 13 seconds behind, so he's given up quite a bit to Crampton and Engrav. Crampton will go in to get past the 00 of Roman. Oh, Will Weiser with a huge problem out of the final turn. He has nosed it into the inside barrier and is backwards in the middle of the track.
And that was a leader that just went through. That could have been disaster there for Sanders.
Well, we saw Nate Siefker at the Chicago Street Circuit finish the race with a meatball flag in the ASRL Sports Car Championship. I think Sanders is, maybe one lap outside of being able to limp it home without getting disqualified if he were to pick up a meatball in the closing laps. So he'll hope that something, if it does happen, happens next lap and he's able to limp it home. Hopefully just nothing happens at all. You said it earlier, he opened up a can here tonight. DeMade clawing his way back up to Josh Heggie here. That went from 1 second to 1 truck length in the span of about 2 turns. Oh, and Heggie loses the rear. He'll have a slowdown to contend with here, but it's not going to matter as DeMade is going to get around the outside. Dale Weiser with a problem. Will Weiser battling the injuries on this truck just to try and get this home in the top 5. But a nice pass there for Dakota DeMade. The track that he put on the schedule is staring down the barrel of his best finish of the season. Sanders across the stripe takes the Illinois green here in the Netherlands. 2 laps to go. And with the pass on Heggie from DeMade, no positions currently up for grabs. Everybody extending gaps. Brandon Groover with a bit of a problem, but he's got plenty of time back to Kyle Zittel. I think got about 12 drivers that are going to be excited to see the checkers here in about a minute and a half's time. Maybe none more so than driver 99, Gavin Sanders, who has a ticket punched to the postseason. Are you ready for this? 2 finishes outside the top 5 for Gavin Sanders this season. 2.
That's wild.
Only 1 outside the top 10. This has been Gavin Sanders' season, no doubt, and he's about to take his second victory if he could bring it home in 1.8 miles. Through the Ernst corner. And one more time through Lyondike corner as well. Clock it in at about an hour and 26 minutes. It is a wire-to-wire win for Gavin Sanders, win number 6 in his Truck 200 career. Sanders takes Zandvoort ahead of TJ Crampton in second. They're battling for position again. Dakota DeMade with a mistake, and he's brought Josh Heggie right back into it with 3 turns left to go.
Oh, wow.
Crampton, I don't think, wants any part of this. He's got second on lock. Will Weiser will bring it home in 5th. The first driver 1 lap down. This is the battle for 6th. And DeMade has got that. 7th for Josh Heggie. But a week after his second career Truck 200 victory, it's TJ Crampton in second, and Hunter Engrav continues an impressive podium streak as they are absolutely sending it into Tarzan with divine swing and all. Chaos and carnage. And how about a 0X for Matt Schlosser? He was the only one.
That is crazy. For a race that was extremely difficult for a lot of drivers. I'm sure it wasn't. The track itself wasn't any less difficult for Gavin Sanders, but boy, did he navigate it a hell of a lot better than anybody else.
We may have an injury report after tonight. Lots of complaints of aches and pains on these drivers. But the sweet pain of victory is the one that Gavin Sanders is feeling right now as he takes his 6th career Truck 200 victory. That ties him second all-time with your reigning series champion Caleb Bensey. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of your finishing results. TJ Crampton in second, Hunter Engrav in third. We'll talk to them in a second. Matt Schlosser, the last driver on the lead lap in P4. Will Weiser with a very up and very down race. I'm sure he'll be happy with a top 5 considering everything that happened tonight. Dakota DeMade in 6th, Josh Heggie in 7th, Scott Patton in 8th, 2 down in 9th, Steve Vroman, Dale Weiser in 10th, 3 down in 11th is Brandon Groover, Kyle Zittel, the last driver to finish tonight in 12th, Zach Flaum, James Lehman, Caleb Bensi, Peter Dunshek, Hunter Leach, Logan Spath, and Nate Siefker. A lot of road course ringers in there, and they did not make it very far in tonight's race. And only 19 even gave it a shot here tonight. Appreciate everybody that did, as we will immediately move your third place finisher in. Don't even give him time to breathe. Let's talk to Hunter Engrav off the heels of an hour and 25 minutes of racing around Zandvoort and some very difficult car track combo from the looks of it. I don't know. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth here. How was the race out there?
I know. Frustrating to be late.
What in particular was the worst part of it?
I don't know. Just the car was just confusing my brain of how it wanted to turn and not turn and wanted to go. But yeah, no, it was an interest race. I was trying to save tires and everything, so Gab was starting to pull away. I'm like, all right, it's gonna come back eventually, and it just seemed like the car just kept getting worse and worse for me, and I was completely confused what happened. And TJ then started catching me. I'm like, oh no. So yeah, no, just trying to think I was saving tires, but I think I was hurting them more than anything.
Matt, what you got?
Yeah, congrats on a good run here. I mean, obviously, difficult task for everybody here tonight. You kind of mentioned TJ catching you, and you didn't put up much of a fight. Were you just happy to finish on the podium and get this one over with?
Yeah, absolutely. And TJ's my teammate, so I don't want to really mess with him. And I had no faith in me driving the car, really, so I didn't want to wreck him over something just for one spot. So I just wanted to let him go. And yeah, he needs the points to help himself. So yeah, no, it's good just to finish third, but yeah, yeah.
Well, 4 podiums in the last 6 races. You are cooking and booking. Good performance here tonight in the face of a pretty difficult challenge. So congrats on a good run. Shout-outs for you.
My mom and my dad for always watching these. You guys for doing a phenomenal job broadcasting. Team Watson Racing. Go check out their setups. And teammate TJ, he did very well. And then Peter for joining us for a little bit too as well.
All righty, partner. Thanks for the time here tonight. We'll hope to talk to you in the short track next week.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Last week's winner, P2, here tonight with a daring late race go on his teammate, TJ Crampton, back at booth 200 here for the 3rd time this season. Welcome back. It's not been very long, but excited to get you back up here after a pretty grueling night of racing.
Yeah, everything hurt after about the last 10 laps, and so somewhere around lap 40 or something, halfway through, I got a really bad cramp on my gas pedal foot, and it did not go away. And by the time of the end of the race, I couldn't feel my gas pedal foot. So I was just praying to dear God that I was doing the right inputs and I didn't spin.
Well, I mean, it was go time there in the last 10 laps or so, reeling in Hunter. I mean, it sounds like, it looked like he kind of moved out of the way for you, but you still have to catch him for that to happen. And you were putting in better laps than Gavin was there at times.
I mean, like Gavin was said, sometimes when you get in that rhythm, it hits. So I got in the rhythm, and Hunter, I told Hunter that I wanted a battle, and he was like, "No, I'm points racing," and I'm like, "Okay, I respect that, but I wanted a battle." But second, hopefully we can continue this streak and maybe go on a long tear in turn 200.
Matt, what you got?
Yeah, congrats on a great race here, and I mean you kind of said it right there. Go on a long tear here. I mean, you've put together a lot of great races as of late. You got a couple more to try and get yourself into the chase. I mean, I feel like you're one of the biggest threats to take that if you're able to get in. I mean, you're going to be in a lower seed, but I mean the way that your races have gone over the last few weeks, you are just on a roll right now.
Yeah, just trying to like a Hunter points race, but also points racing is difficult because you want to win. Like last week, I could have not made that aggressive move and finished third for points, but I wanted the win, and I got lucky that Justin lifted and didn't take us 3 out, and same with Hunter. Like I could have just stayed behind him, but I wanted to catch him, and I wanted the points, and I wanted to go faster and beat my teammates. So there's a fine balance. Sometimes I go over the edge. Most of the time I go over the edge. But I've just gotten lucky the past 2 weeks. Atlanta and Daytona, I went over the edge and kind of hurt myself early, and then Chili Bowl happened. So digging out myself out of a hole is for the primary goal right now. And Myrtle Beach next week's going to be quite interesting because I just bought the track and have not turned a single lap there. So, but I mean, I love short tracks, so I think that'll be good for me. And as long as I don't get caught in other people's mess, like North Wilkesboro, thank God I wasn't there for that because that would have been disastrous. But honestly, it's just trying to get the best result every week.
Well, like Matt said, you're on a roll. We'll hope for the best here in Myrtle Beach and Las Vegas to close out the regular season. But strong run here tonight. Once again, great follow-up to the win last week. Shout-outs for you.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone at Team Watson Racing and James and Hunter and Peter and everyone who shows up for the team every week. And it's a great group of guys. I want to thank Martin Sports as well, you guys for broadcasting and having this truck league. I want to thank my personal sponsors, Redline Oil, Extreme Mufflers, and Champs Speed Shop.
Awesome stuff here tonight. Congrats on another one. We'll hope to talk to you again next week.
Thank you.
You're now 6-time winner in Truck 200 for the second time here this season, and I think it's fair to say a ticket punch to the postseason, all wrapped up in a trip to the Netherlands here tonight for Gavin Sanders. Welcome back to the booth, partner. Congrats on the win.
Thanks. Yeah, that was I would call it a tedious but slow race tonight, and just glad that we're done with that and we can move on and get the chase going.
Yeah, an hour and 25 minutes of tiptoeing around a Formula One track, even with the high banking. This truck looked unsettled all night, and even for you had to make one pass here tonight, and it was while somebody stayed out and was coming into pit road. So, I mean, was it uneventful here tonight, even slicing and dicing through lap traffic, or did you have your hands full throughout the night?
Definitely had to maintain and make sure that I kept the truck under me. A lot of tire wear or tire heat, and just ensuring that I could get through the stint was half the battle and get to halfway, and then after that just kind of putter around and get it done, and didn't really see anybody, so I was a little lonely, but that's can't complain. So,
Matt, what you got for the race winner?
Well, congrats on the ass whooping here tonight. It was fantastic stuff out there. You already mentioned it. You're ready to head towards the chase and get that thing underway. I mean, what's your confidence level? I mean, I know we got a couple weeks to go here, but sounds like you're ready to go. Sounds like your confidence is pretty high right now going into that.
Yeah, obviously the road courses will be my strong suit no matter what, and we have a lot of good guys on 1.5 miles and some good teams on super speedway. So I'm gonna need all the help I can get from my boys, but we'll try and make it work, and it'll be more interesting because the reset won't be super beneficial for even for me. With how the points work out and how many points get paid out, but just string together a couple of good races to close out the year and see where we fall, I think is the goal for the last little bit.
I think if we ever come back here, we're going to give you one of those bicycles that the Dutch are always raving on about, and that should make it a little bit more of an interesting race for everybody else. But great stuff here tonight. Congrats on win number 6 with Truck 200, win number 2 on the season. Shoutouts for you here from the top step.
Big thanks to Melamo Esports. Thanks to everybody watching. Thanks to you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast. And I'll keep it quiet, but buy Aquablade on Steam. And that is about all. So thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely, partner. All the best to you up north. Congrats on the win. We'll talk to you again, hopefully at Myrtle Beach.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
All righty. There's not much to say about a night like tonight. It was a long race. some eventful things happening, more puzzle pieces being put into place for the postseason. Some drivers that needed a good night essentially showed up, and they got good points. So that is going to make things very interesting here.
Yeah, I think that's really the story of the night. I think is not even necessarily the stuff that happened, directly on the racetrack. It's really the results of what happened on the racetrack going into the next couple of weeks to try and form that chase grid. I mean, there's still kind of a few spots up for grabs. Some people not showing up. Some people that need to show up the next couple of weeks to give themselves a shot. I think we're going to be pretty tight for those last couple of spots. So the next couple of weeks, especially going into a short track with big points consequences on the line, that is always a special recipe. So that you're not going to want to miss that one next week for sure.
Well, let's wrap up shop here tonight. Matt, who was hanging out with us?
Yeah, we had a few folks here with us. John K., Garrett Rainey on two different accounts, by the way. Josh Monacek, James Lehman, Mike Bensey cheering on Caleb, unfortunately, was out of this one early. Corey Rutherford, Zach Lockett, and Pamela Engrav cheering on Hunter, who came in third. Thank you guys for tuning in and, chatting with us here tonight. Hope that you enjoyed it, and we will see you tomorrow night for the Venom Truck Series, and then we'll see you more this week for the first time in a while.
Sorry, a little CPU lag there on my end. We are, I've been promised that the practice session tonight for the Venom Truck Series at Kern County did not go particularly well, so we may be in for an interesting evening tomorrow night, hopefully not hearkening back to Thompson last season. I don't think it was quite that bad, but it is going to be an interesting one tomorrow night. The Turn 200 debut of Kern County, Kevin Harvick's Kern County Raceway. Excited for that one. The Punisher Graphics 200 will be underway at about 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Then, Friday night, mark it down. Be here at about 9 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll have the debut of the Special Stage Pro Trucks Off-Road Series, presented by a number of organizations, not the least of which is the Team Watson Racing Setups. It'll be myself and James Watson on the call for that one, the very first Special Stage Pro Truck racing event at Wild West Motorsports Park, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And then we'll be back on air next Monday night for the yet-to-be-named Myrtle Beach race for Truck 200 next Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, as always. That's all we got for you here tonight. Appreciate everybody that was hanging out with us, and thank you to the drivers for making the effort here tonight to come out and race at a difficult track and a difficult car track combo at that. Really appreciate them. Thanks to Garrett Rainey, as always, for doing the race control. And thanks to the GOAT, the one and only Mr. Matt Williamson. That's all we got for you here tonight. Until we meet again from Circuit Zandvoort Nationaal, I'm Tommy Cook saying so long, and congratulations to Gavin Sanders on picking up his second win of the season and the sixth of his career in Truck 200. This has been a live broadcast on Turn 200. Be sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of when we go live next. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.